The Louvre. From royal palace to architectural masterpiece through the centuries. Welcome to this unique exploration of the Louvre, one of the largest and most fascinating palaces in the world. A former royal residence, this monument bears witness to centuries of history, architecture, and splendor. From its medieval beginnings to its modern extensions, discover how the Louvre was expanded and enhanced over the centuries to become the icon we know today. The Louvre, one of the largest palaces in the world and a former royal residence, was expanded and embellished over time, embodying centuries of architectural history. Crowning the Museum of Arts, it opened to the public in 1793 and was established in the Louvre's Grand Gallery, the Salon Carré, and the Apollo Gallery. The painter Hubert Robert depicted the Grand Gallery several times as he saw it at the museum's opening, finally showcasing to the public the masterpieces accumulated in the royal collection since François I. The Italian collection includes the Virgin and Child in Majesty, surrounded by 6 angels, a monumental work by Cimabue, executed around 1270, preserving traditional elements. Among Raphael's famous Madonnas, a rotating pyramid is said to characterize the composition of the Virgin and Child with Saint Anne, left unfinished by Leonardo da Vinci. The Mona Lisa, the portrait of Mona Lisa, has always been regarded as a masterpiece. At Fontainebleau, the Louvre, and Versailles, kings kept it close to them. Bonaparte wanted it in his bedroom at the Tuileries Palace. However, it was known that in 1804 the Mona Lisa was in the Grand Gallery, already and still one of the museum's greatest treasures. Questions we might ask her include, why this assured yet uncertain smile? Why this power of fascination? She offers a gaze that is both intense and serene. In contrast, a twilight glow is captured by Titian in the Entombment, where Christ's body barely emerges from the shadows, a prodigious display of color. Similarly, in the wedding at Cana, Jesus miraculously transforms water into wine. Veronese transposed this episode into the luxurious setting of 16th century Venice. In the portrait of the Marchioness, Goya, working in his distinctive style, conveys a sense of presence. Nearby, the collection of foreign sculptures includes the Donatello Gallery, named for the Florentine sculptor and his workshop, which features a painted and gilded terracotta Madonna, where the Christ child turns away from his mother as if called by his tragic destiny beyond the work's frame. The renowned Rubens also created intimate works, such as his portrait of his second wife, Hélène Formont, with their children. In the galleries dedicated to 17th century Dutch painting, Frans Hals is represented by the Fool with a lute. Among these works is a duo by Vermeer, the lacemaker and the astronomer, as well as Peter de Hooch, the drinker in a Dutch courtyard, and landscapes, including the paradoxical sunshine. Van Dyck, a Flemish artist trained in Rubens's circle, spent 9 years in England, where Charles I appointed him court painter. Van Dyck produced numerous portraits of the king, including one noted for its unconventionality. In the 16th century, painted enamel objects gained great popularity. Léonard Limousin perfected this difficult technique, creating portraits of court figures, including Anne de Montmorency, Constable of France and friend of Henri II Carvin-Grog. Following the principle of dividing periods between the Louvre and the Musée d'Orsay, interrupts its collections in 1848 with a notable exception. Over time, paintings from the royal collections became the foundation of the Department of Paintings. The French school represents more than half of the department's works, with approximately 700 paintings by French artists displayed in 80 rooms. The journey begins with royal portraits, such as that of Jean le Bon, future King of France in 1350 and father of Charles V. A century later, Charles VI is portrayed in mid-profile by Jean Fouquet, who established a model later adopted by Jean Clouet for his portrait of François I around 1530. The Avignon school of the 15th century produced works of intense expressiveness, such as Enguerrand Quarton's Pietà of Villeneuve-les-Avignon. The French 17th century is represented by a long series of masterpieces. Georges de Latour's The Cheat with the Ace of Diamonds depicts a naive young man about to be swindled. Nearby is the peasant family in an interior, attributed to one or more of the Le Nain brothers, whose dignified figures invite a solemn response from the viewer. Claude Gelée, known as Le Lorrain, constructs compositions inspired by Roman architecture. Nicolas Poussin, a Roman adoptee, reflects on biblical episodes such as the Judgment of Solomon. In his later years, affected by illness, Poussin created 4 celebrated works on the cycles of the seasons and the stages of life. Charles Lebrun's portrait of Chancellor Séguier reflects a taste for grandeur, brought to its peak in Hyacinthe Rigaud's portrait of Louis XIV. Under the Regency, after the pomp of the Grand Siècle, light-hearted and nostalgic pleasures inspired works such as Watteau's The Embarkation for Cythera, where it remains unclear whether the pilgrims are departing for or leaving the Isle of Love. Among Fête Galante scenes, Pierrot stands enigmatic, arms hanging by his sides, while the fixed gaze of a donkey adds an unsettling element. Fragonard, brilliant and agile in portraiture, depicts Denis Diderot, while his masterpiece The Lock conveys temptation through its dramatic diagonal composition. Jean-Baptiste Siméon Chardin, elevating everyday objects to pure presence, is represented by a pastel self-portrait too fragile for prolonged exhibition. The 19th century occupies the adjoining galleries on the second floor of the Cour Carrée. Large format works of this period attract thousands of visitors daily to the famous Red Rooms in the Denon wing. Jacques-Louis David's The Oath of the Horatii glorifies the virtues of courage, self-sacrifice, and patriotism, soon embraced by revolutionary ethics. Painted in 1784, it marks the beginnings of the neoclassical school. Another masterpiece by David, The Coronation of Napoleon, captures the moment in 1804 when the emperor crowned his wife Josephine at Notre Dame Cathedral, in the presence of Pope Pius VII, and a precisely rendered 100-person audience. Among the Romantic movement's renowned paintings is Theodore Géricault's The Raft of the Medusa. Corot, adhering to the classical theory of idealized landscapes, is simultaneously a master of realism, as seen in his plein air studies. His Souvenir of Mortefontaine conveys nostalgia for a bygone style. A painter of both ingenuity and erudition, Corot confronts Leonardo da Vinci's legacy when he so chooses. No artist has avoided measuring their work against that of their predecessors. The Louvre reminds us to maintain an active gaze so that the art of the past remains alive. Without this engagement, they are merely distant artifacts, closed windows, or barriers to the abyss of time. The legacy we inherit, without a user manual, demands constant reinvention for its appreciation and use. Subscribe now to dive into the history of art and French monuments like never before. Join our community of enthusiasts and be inspired by the richness of French heritage.